Okay, so good day, everyone. We're now on chapter 2 of our discussion in mathematics in the modern world. So, chapter 2 is all about the language, symbols, syntax, and rules in mathematics. So, for chapter 2, lesson 1, we'll be discussing language of mathematics. So our goal here is to define important terms in the study of mathematics, language, and even symbols. We will be also defining and describing algebraic expressions, as well as simplify and evaluate algebraic expressions. So let's start. So mathematical language. Um, let's start with the word language. It was mentioned that a language is a systematic means of communicating ideas or feelings using signs, sounds, gestures, or even marks, having understood or understandable meaning. So it means that we express ourselves, our ideas, our emotions using different signs, sounds, and gestures. And by doing so, we are communicating them. That is what we call language, the signs and symbols that we are using. Okay. On the other hand, when we talk about mathematics, as we have discussed previously in chapter 1, when we talk about mathematics, it's the study of numbers, number patterns, and relationships, even counting and measuring objects. It is a way to communicate or analyze idea, a way of reasoning that is unique to us as a human being. So if we combine the two, language and mathematics, we have what we call the mathematics of language or language of mathematics. Okay. So the language of mathematics states that it is a system, okay, that used by mathematicians to communicate mathematical ideas, not only to themselves, but to everyone that has a familiar, that are familiar with the symbols and signs that are being used in math, as well as it is a system of communication about objects such as numbers, variables, sets, operations, functions, and even equations that are derived from the patterns that we have observed around us or in nature. Lastly, it has a syntax that makes the expression well formed to make the characters and symbol clear and valid that do not and also do not violate the rules. So when we say syntax, it's just like the grammar rules that we're talking about in English. So if we have a set of grammars and what to use and how to use words, the different types of words, then we also have it in mathematics. We call it syntax. Okay. Now, why is it important for us to understand or to be familiar with the language or the symbols that are being used in mathematics? So, as we all know, mathematics is written in symbolic language that is designed to express mathematical thoughts. So, it aims to communicate um, abstract or concept ideas, logical ideas with precision, with accuracy, and without an ambiguity or without confusion. So that is why it is important for us to understand the language that is being used in mathematics. Now, the next part talks about the characteristic of mathematics. So there are actually three. So the first one is precise. When we talk about preciseness in mathematics, able to make fine distinction. It means that um, the symbols that we are gonna be using have a specific meaning. It means that it does not have another meaning, or in English, it's not a double meaning symbols. Like for example, the plus sign. We all know that if we saw a plus sign, it means that we add or addition. The minus sign is for subtraction. Uh, the X symbol is for multiplication, and the slash is for the division or divide. Unlike in English, some words have double meaning, means that they are not precise. So the meaning of the word will depend on how you will use the sentence. For example, the word orange. As we all know, orange can be a color, it can be a fruit or a name of a person. So if someone told you that my favorite is orange, we do not know easily what he or she is referring to. Is she referring to the fruit, to a person, or to a color? Unlike in mathematics, each symbols that we are using have a specific definition. Okay, so that is what we call preciseness. The next one is concise. Able to say things briefly means that it's short. Okay, um, we all know that in English, a long sentence, a long English sentence can be shortened using mathematical symbols. For example, um, if I have 8 plus 2 equals 10 in words, but in math, we just need to use the symbol 8 and 2 and then the plus sign and then equate it to 10. So it means that the it would remove the ambiguity or the confusion if we use mathematical symbols instead of expressing those ideas in long English sentences, which may confuse us. Okay. Last one is powerful. Powerful refers to be able to express complex ideas with relative ease. Okay. So the application of critical thinking and problem solving skills requires comprehension, analysis, and reasoning to obtain the correct solution. So it means that no matter how complex we see mathematical equations, but it would convey us a very specific information that can easily be understood. Unlike in English, you had a very, very long sentence, then it will be confusing. You won't be able to understand it easily. Okay. So again, when we say powerful, it means that even though it presents complex equations, you can easily understand them. That is what we call powerful. So again, these are the three characteristics of language, of mathematics. It's precise, concise, and powerful. Next one are about variable, coefficient, and constant. Okay. So let's say in mathematics, we have what we call algebraic expression. So when we say algebraic expressions, these are mathematical phrases, which is made up of variables, constant, along with algebraic expressions such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay. So if in English, we have what we call phrases or combination of words, but does not have or that does not give us any complete idea or thought, that is equivalent to algebraic expressions. Okay. So one example is the one that you see on your screen. We have 5x minus 3. Okay. So this is an algebraic expression. Okay. Since it does not have or it does not give us a complete idea about 5x minus 3. Is it equal to something or to another number? We do not know. Okay, so it's incomplete. That is what we call algebraic expression. So in algebraic expressions, it has three parts. The variables, which are the letters or symbols that would represent a unknown value. Since we do not know yet that particular value, we use symbols or letters to express them. So you can use any letters from the English alphabet or any symbols that you can think of that is possible. Okay, so in this case, 5x minus 3, the variable is x. Next to x is a coefficient, okay? The 5 that you would see there. A coefficient is a number or constant quantity placed before, and it implies you multiply that variable to that number in the algebraic expression. So it means that whatever the value we have in x, you multiply it to the coefficient, in this case, 5. Okay? So any numbers that is along with variables, we call them coefficient. Next one is constant. A constant is a term used to describe a definite value. It means the value does not change. Okay? So in this example, the constant is negative 3. Okay, so we always include the sign before that number. Okay, so again, in this example, the constant is negative 3. Now, a term is a single number or variable or product of constant and variable which is separated by plus or minus. Okay, so in this case, we have two terms, 5x and negative 3. Okay, so multiplication and division does not count in terms of counting how many numbers or terms we have in a single expression or equation. Okay. Now, we have three types. Actually, there are four types of algebraic expressions. We have a monomial, means from the name itself, mono, which means one term. It is an expression which has only one term. We also have a binomial from the word bi, which means two. You have two algebraic expressions or algebraic terms rather, which is separated by either plus or minus. Then we have a polynomial. It can be a trinomial or a polynomial. A trinomial means it has three terms, and a polynomial means from the name itself, poly, which is many, it has more than one term. Okay? So these are the three types or four types. We have monomial, binomial, trinomial, and polynomial. Okay. So that's it for the language of mathematics. Now, for lesson 2, writing mathematical language as an expression or a sentence. So in here, we would describe and illustrate parts of a mathematical expression, translate verbal phrases to mathematical phrases. Okay. So in mathematics, when we say expression or mathematical expression, it is a finite. It means there is a specific number of combination of symbols that is well formed using syntax or error that depends on the context that we are trying to understand. It is the correct arrangement of mathematical symbols used to represent a mathematical object of interest. An expression does not state a complete thought, just like a sentence or a phrase, rather. It doesn't have any complete idea. It may have a subject, but it does not have a predicate. Okay, so it does not make sense to ask if an expression is true or false. The most common expressions are numbers, sets, and even functions. Okay, so on the other hand, we have what we call mathematical sentence. Okay, so when we talk about mathematical sentence, no, these are just like English sentences. It has a correct arrangement of mathematical symbols and has a complete thought. Okay, so it has a verb. Usually it contains the symbol of for equality, which is the equal sign, or the inequality symbols like the greater than, less than, or not equal. Okay, so unlike algebraic expression, it does not have those kind of symbols. Okay, so the next one are examples of different operations in words and how can we translate them. Like for example, in addition, usually we use the word keyword or phrase the sum of. Okay, so it means that you would add the two numbers. Let's say the sum of a number and 5. So since we do not know the number yet, we may represent it by a letter, example X. Then since it's the sum, so it's the plus sign, so X plus 5. For subtraction, we have the difference of another one is subtracted from. Okay? For the difference of a number and 3. So that's X minus 3. A number is subtracted from 12. So that is 12 minus X. For multiplication, we have the product of. So the product of a number and 6. So that's 6X. For division, we have the quotient of divided by the ratio of. So if you know or if you saw this keywords on a particular question, it means that it involves the operation division. Okay, so the quotient of a number in 7, so that's X divided by 7. 10 divided by a number, so that's 10 over X. The ratio of a number to 15, so that's X over 15. For powers or exponents, the square of or squared, the cube of or cubed, or whatever the exponent you would be having. Okay, so the square of a number squared, so that's X squared. The cube of a number or a number cube, that's X cubed. Right? So these are some of the things that we will be using in translating. Okay, so please remember that these keywords, because you will use this when you translate English phrases to mathematical phrases. So the next lesson is about mathematical conventions. Okay, so this is somewhat related to writing English phrases, mathematical phrases. Okay, so we would be familiar with some mathematical conventions, the usual symbols that are being used when we talk about math. Okay, so these are some of the uh, symbols. So when we talk about mathematical conventions, we talk about facts, names, notations, or usage, which is generally agreed upon by the mathematicians. Example, the plus sign. Okay, so it was agreed by the mathematicians that that plus sign is for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and other operations. Okay, so the next slide pertains to the different symbols that are being used. Okay, so these are some of the mathematical symbols we have for multiplication, division, plus, minus. We also have for the equal sign. We have for approximation. We have the inequality symbols greater than or less than. We have greater than or equal, less than or equal, the grouping symbols like the brackets, parentheses, and uh, braces or curly brackets. We also have segment, the bar that you see on the top part or top of A and B. The symbol for not belongs to, angles, right angle, plus minus, not equal, and many more. Okay, so you have to know that. So we also have the symbols for cube root, for fourth root, okay, the percentage symbol, we also have it here. The infinity, integral, the sum of, and many more. Okay, so there are a lot of symbols that are being used. The last one is the number system. Okay, so the number or the complex number system, this is the one that is generally being used when we try to represent numbers. Okay, we start from the upper part, which is the complex number. Okay, so it's the combination of real number and imaginary number. Okay, the symbol is the capital letter C. Okay, so the sum of the real number and imaginary number. Then down or below the complex number, we have first the imaginary numbers represented by small letter I, italic I. When we talk about imaginary numbers, these are usually numbers that can be represented using symbols, but they don't have actual value. Okay, so we use that symbol to represent that there is a imaginary number. For example, the square root of -1. Okay, we all know that the square root of any negative numbers is undefined. Okay, so we do not know the value. But we use the symbol square root of -1 to represent that imaginary number. Okay, then along with imaginary numbers, we have the real numbers represented by capital R. Okay, so from the name itself, real numbers, these are represented by symbols and has a actual value. Unlike imaginary numbers, they can be represented, but they don't have values at all, or the value is undefined. Okay, so under real numbers, we have what we call the rational numbers as well as irrational numbers. Irrational numbers, these are represented by the capital Q with the apostrophe or Q prime. That's what we call it. Okay, so these are real numbers that cannot be written in simple fraction forms. Okay, this includes non-terminating numbers, means the numbers is infinitely many. Non-repeating decimals such as the pi and the golden ratio is an example of irrational numbers. Okay. On the other hand, real numbers are the quotient of two integers. Okay, so it can be expressed the ratio of two whole numbers. It can be in a form of fraction or decimals. These are numbers that can be defined as a number whose whole number part and the fraction part is separated by decimal point. Okay, so the dot in the decimal number is called the decimal point. Okay, the digit after the decimal point shows that there is a value smaller than 1. Okay, so rational numbers can also be represented using fractions. Okay, so it's consisting of one or more equal parts of a unit, is denoted by A over B, and B should not be equal to 0. Okay, so another type of rational numbers are what we call integers. Okay, under integers, we have actually 3. The negative or non-positive integers, or the negative numbers, represented by Z minus. Then we have 0, it's either positive or neither positive nor negative. We have the positive or non-negative represented by Z plus. Now, the combination of whole numbers and the combination of 0 and positive numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we call it whole numbers. Okay? Now, another name for positive integers are natural or counting numbers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, if 0 is included, if 0 and all the positive numbers, we call them whole numbers, represented by capital W. If it's natural numbers, It simply means these are the positive integers or represented by capital N. Okay, so this is the number system that we are using in mathematics. So thank you so much, and I hope you understand and learn something today.